the most powerful man of the 20th century. Who was this man that all the world should mourn over him? 5 feet 5 inches tall, wearing a hand-spun cotton loincloth like the poorest of India's untouchables. What then was the power of this man? Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born in Porbandar in western India on October 2nd, 1869. The Indian people call this power the Atma. A man of unusual spiritual force is called a Mahatma, a great soul. While young Gandhi was a law student in London, England, he began to probe more deeply for an understanding of the nature of life, of truth, of love, of power. Gandhi was to call its use nonviolence, satyagraha, a greater power than that of the largest gun or bomb or army. In 1915, this amazing man, now 46, returned to his India. Multitudes of people gathered to hear his message of hope for freedom and dignity. He told them their weapon was nonviolent resistance against the political forces that had held them in crushing bondage. In 1921, he began the new program simply, with a spinning wheel. India grew hundreds of tons of cotton annually, and yet Indians were unemployed half the year. Instead of sending their raw cotton to English mills, why not make their own cloth? Thus began the khadi or homespun movement. In 1930, Gandhi told the people about a letter of protest he had written to the British Viceroy, Lord Irwin. In the letter, he had voiced the Indians' bitter complaint about the type of British rule which reduced them to political serfdom. Great Britain has even taken from the Indian the right to make his own salt from his own sea, and yet Britain levies a tax on that salt when the Indian then has to buy it. Gandhi himself would break the salt laws. The Viceroy answered through a secretary. No conference. On March 12th of 1930, at 6:30 a.m., a slight man, 61 years old, clothed in a homespun loincloth, moved against the British Empire. With 79 disciples, he started a 200-mile walk to the sea. Others began to join him. Then Gandhi marched into the sea, and from it he took a pan of water to be refined into salt. All along the shores of the sea, thousands moved in, each with a container to take out the water, distilling it, gathering the salt in great mounds. Soldiers came and confiscated the salt, but even yet more was distilled. And young Jawaharlal Nehru and the numberless followers of Gandhi now called him Bapu, the father. And on August 15th, 1947, the flag of independence flew over emancipated India. Free India, proud India, jubilant India. India stood before all nations as a symbol that nonviolence can be an invincible force. It can bring about the peaceful solution of international differences. And so independence came to India. And at the center of all, Gandhi, father, Bapu. But Bapu was not at the festivities. He had spent the day fasting and praying. There was still much work to do. He was growing old. His days were drawing close. On January 30th, 1948, at 5:30, Gandhi went from Birla House to his prayer meeting. A man who feared Gandhi's teaching and power stepped forward and bowed to him. The man fired a gun. And so Mahatma Gandhi, a great soul, finished with his life. At dawn they dressed him in the loincloth which he had spun, and which throughout the world had become a respected symbol. There were garlands of flowers. The flag of India was draped over him. After the procession, the body was burned. Ashes were sent to 6 continents and to all parts of India. But the spirit of the man had long preceded the particles of ash. His spirit was alive in the land, releasing truth, drawing people into relationships of understanding and trust, achieving dignified human stature, demonstrating the invincible power of love